on Monday Night Football. ABC Sports presents NFL Monday Night Football. This is our 18th season, and with those years, so many memories. First down and 10. The ball at the 44-yard line. The snake. Right away, he goes deep. Got it wide open. Saw back. Ball deflected, but it's still caught here by number 33, Tony Dorsett. Look out! Look out! All right. Norm Thompson misses. It should be all over. It's all over. Just a great game. On 2nd and 8. From the Kingdom in Seattle, Washington, it'll be a noisy sellout crowd for tonight's meeting of the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Raiders. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Nissan Cars and Trucks, built for the most important race of all, the human race. By Epson America. When you've got an Epson, you've got a lot of company. And brought to you by the power tool people at Black & Decker. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford, and welcome to Seattle, Washington. And it will be a noisy crowd here at the Kingdom tonight. The Seattle Seahawks, well, they have a chance to tie for first place in the AFC Western Division if they can win tonight over the Raiders, and they have beaten the Raiders 5 straight times here in the Kingdom. They have a tremendous edge going in, if that would be the only factor. But it's a team that really played well last week. They beat the San Diego Chargers 34-3. The Chargers, of course, lost yesterday to Denver, and a win tonight by the Seahawks, and they will be in an 8-3 tie in the AFC West, and they will be sitting awfully pretty at this particular point. Meanwhile, the Raiders come limping into the Kingdom tonight. They're a team that is in trouble at quarterback. They're a team whose offensive line has been decimated by injuries, but they are bringing perhaps the newest superstar in the National Football League with him, Bo Jackson. And Chuck Knox also says this is the best 3-7 football team he has ever seen in his coaching career, Al.
Well, Chuck Knox tonight takes on the Raiders, Frank, but Chuck Knox is a guy who thinks he can take his team to the Super Bowl. You mentioned last week's victory over San Diego. It was an annihilation. No team can look any better than Seattle did last week. The thing about Seattle is you don't know what you're going to get. Last year, they ended the season with 5 straight wins but didn't make the playoffs. This year, they were blown out on opening day by Denver, but since the strike, they won 4 and lost 1. They can look terrific, as was the case against San Diego. They can look terrible, as was the case against the New York Jets in a Monday night game 3 weeks ago. But one thing, if they win tonight's game, they'll be 8-3. They will have beaten San Diego in the only head-to-head meeting, and they would own, as of this moment, the home field advantage for the playoffs with 4 regular season games to go. If they go into the playoffs with the home field advantage, this team has a great chance to wind up in San Diego on January 31st. So, Dan, while Seattle may be thinking about the Super Bowl, the Raiders are just thinking about respectability. Did you think you'd live long enough to see the Raiders lose 7 straight games?
I think to say, oh, how the mighty have fallen might best describe the Los Angeles Raiders, Al. How do you get a handle on this football team? Only 3 victories so far this season. Look at the players they have. I mean, we're at Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson, Todd Christensen, James Lofton, Howie Long, Mike Haynes. The list goes on and on. The key tonight for the Raiders, they must get into this ball game in a hurry. In this 7-game losing streak, believe it or not, they've been outscored in the first quarter 48-6. And in the Kingdom, if you're the visitor, if you're behind, this is a bad, bad place to have to play a football game.
And so Tom Flores, knowing that all too well, a man who has watched his team come in here and been bombed the last 2 years by a composite 70-3 margin, and a man whose team started the season with 3 straight wins. 2 wins with the regulars over Green Bay and Detroit, and a victory against Kansas City with the replacement players. But now 7 consecutive losses, the longest such streak in 25 years. And Chuck Knox, who spent 5 years with the Rams, 5 years with Buffalo, led each of those teams into the playoffs, and has led Seattle to the playoffs in the past, and now concluding his 5th season at the helm here. And here we go with Seattle to receive the opening kickoff. Chris Barr to kick off, and Bobby Joe Edmonds and Randall Morris back to receive for Seattle. And this is Edmonds taking it at the 4-yard line. And tripped up at the 15. So Seattle starts deep in its own territory. A former Seahawk, Eddie Anderson, makes the tackle. And here comes Dave Craig, who can look so good or so bad, much like Seattle. Last week, he looked terrific against San Diego. His numbers for the season with 13 touchdown passes. And it's Craig with Warner and Williams. And then Turner, the wideout with Largent, and Tice, the tight end. And the offensive line, Mattis, Bailey, Bush, Millard having a great season, and Mike Wilson. A well-balanced team, and they've been steady and solid since the strike outside of the one game against the Jets. 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line, and they begin with John L. Williams, taking it out to the 17 for a gain of a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8. The Raiders, who play a 3-4 with Long, Piquel, and Jones up front, and then the linebackers, Lyndon King on the outside with Millen. They've moved Jerry Robinson inside, and he's playing well there, and Rod Martin, the veteran. And then Washington and an injured Mike Haynes at the corners with Turan and McElroy, who's having a great year at safeties. And at the moment, Sam Seal is playing the cornerback spot in place of Haynes, who's hurt. He has a bad foot and will play probably sparingly tonight. Largent in motion on 2nd down and 8. And Craig going deep and too deep. Intended for Largent, who was covered by Sam Seal. And Seal will be a busy man tonight.
Do you believe in coincidence that they go right at Sam Seal? In the first passing situation of the game, Steve Largent in motion, and Seal had to come all the way across the formation. And if you're going to be tested the first passing play of the game, well, that's the way to get coverage and let them know that you're in this ball game.
Interesting, too, Dan, they used Largent about 5'11", 6 feet. Darrell Turner is 6'3", and keep in mind that Sammy Seal is about 5'9". He gives away a lot of height to Darrell Turner. We could see Turner working against Seal.
3rd down and 8. Fellows comes in as the extra defensive back for the Raiders. And Craig is protected well and then shoots one out to Butler, but Butler, after a gain of 2, is stopped by McElroy. And so the Raiders are able to keep the Seahawks in check on their first series, and Seattle will be forced to kick 2 minutes into the game. And thus a promising start for L.A. Chris Woods drops back deep. Last week, San Diego fell behind very early. In fact, Anderson fumbled the opening kickoff. Seahawks recovered. Johnson kicked the field goal, and Seattle was off and running.
And it's insanity to be behind here in the Kingdom. A good first series for the Raiders defensively, 3 and out. They'll get some good field position, and offensively, they've just got to get some points.
Ruben Rodriguez, who's been very erratic, a short kick, but takes a good Seattle bounce, taken by Woods, and he's dropped back at the 35-yard line. So good coverage for the Seahawks.
The Rat Patrol.
And Mark Wilson now, who is a native of this area, grew up in the Seattle area, played his college ball at Brigham Young, a Raiders #1 pick in 1980. And here he is with Allen and Jackson, the 2 Heisman winners, Lofton and Dokie Williams, the wideouts, and Christensen. And there is the rebuilt and revamped offensive line. And here's the noise, as expected. 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line, and they give it to Jackson, who spins but goes nowhere as he runs into the arms of Greg Gaines, the linebacker. 2nd down and 11 coming up as we look at the Seattle defense with Green, Nash in the middle, and Bryant. Then the linebackers. Woods, the rookie, the #1 pick. Fred Young has had a terrific year. He's a quiet one, unlike Bosworth. We know all about him. And then Gaines on the outside, who made the last stop. Taylor and Hunter are the corners. Easley with a damaged shoulder, and Robinson are the safeties. And Easley is really favoring that shoulder. 2nd down and 11 from the 36-yard line. Wilson throwing, and it's caught at the 49-yard line by Dokie Williams, who ran it out on Patrick Hunter, who did the covering for Seattle, and it's a 1st down.
Good protection for Wilson, and a simple little effort there for Dokie working against Patrick Hunter. Patrick Hunter now is playing on a very sore leg. He was injured a little bit last week. He was questionable during the week, and he gave up an awful lot of room to Dopey Williams, and more importantly, Wilson had plenty of time to get it there. Good protection for him.
So 1st and 10. Raiders have the first down of the game at the 49-yard line. And Bo Jackson is split out to the right with Allen, the running back. And this is an old USC play, which he'd be very used to as he takes it to the 45-yard line of Seattle. And Bo Jackson with the block to lead the way on Kenny Easley.
And I think we just saw in that play one of the things the Raiders are going to use extensively tonight. And talking to Tom Flores, their head coach, it's a quick snap count. That's one way to negate the crowd noise and the shifting Seattle defense. Get up to the line of scrimmage, set your offensive line, and snap the football. And that time, the Raiders beat the Seahawks to the point of attack, because if you saw Fred Young and Brian Bosworth, both were still signaling movement to the defensive line and got caught standing flat-footed.
2nd and 4. That's Bo Jackson lined up in the slot to the right. And Wilson on 2nd and 4, scrambling to his right. And is throwing, and it's complete at the 35-yard line. Again, it's Dopey Williams making his second catch, and the Raiders getting their second first down as they've moved to the Seahawks 35-yard line.
No containment at all on Mark Wilson. He rolled out to the right. He looked downfield. Seconds passed. Still, there was no pressure on Wilson. And finally, Williams uncovered, and also uncovering there was James Lofton deep. With Wilson all the time in the world.
Frank, it looked like they were almost daring Mark Wilson to take the ball upfield. They were giving it to him all the way, Seattle was.
1st and 10. Raiders now with Jackson and Allen in the backfield, and Lofton going in motion from the 35. It's Bo Jackson trying to get a block from Allen, and Allen can't take gains out of the play. There's a fumble, a loose ball. And Fred Young is the man with the ball, and it's a live ball. Seattle recovers.
That was very close. Jackson had been hit, but I don't think he could reach the carpet because he was sprawled over a Seattle Seahawk, and you'll see the ball come loose. And Jackson, a little confused. Last week he turned and went the other way. He tried to do it here and ran into a crowd. Very strong pursuing defense. It was really his own man who kept him upright. The hit was by Gaines, and the ball came loose.
And I don't think it's a sure thing.
No, they may be looking at it.
Yeah, I don't think this is a sure thing. No, we're going to have an instant replay right here, folks.
And you saw Jerry Markbright say no whistle, which brings up the point last week with the change in this replay rule.
The play stands. Seattle first down.
If there had been a whistle, that would have made it a whole other story here.
Exactly right. If the whistle would have blown, there would have been no review. Now, we saw the ball coming loose before Bo Jackson got to the ground. They reviewed it because no whistle throws the play or stops the replay process. They determined it was a fumble. It stands Seattle's ball.
Warner's first carry of the night brings him out to the 41-yard line. He is stopped there by McElroy after a gain of 5. 10:40 to play in the period. No score.
And I think the fascinating thing about Kurt Warner, except that he is just an extraordinary back, is the fact that he has not worked out for the past 3 weeks. He has a very tender turf toe, and he has averaged over 100 yards rushing for the past 5 weeks. Works out on a cycle, works out in the weight room, but nothing on the field.
2nd down, 5 from the 41-yard line with Largent in motion. And Warner again trying to find an opening over the right side. Brings it out to the 43-yard line, setting up a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. Stopped by Bickel and Millen. And Seattle is the most proficient team in the NFL in converting 3rd downs. Almost 50% of the time they've converted on 3rd down this season.
Very, very difficult to have a losing record when you keep racking up first down with that rate of consistency. Well above the league average, which is in the high 30s. Marvelous job by Seattle, 3rd down.
49.6. 4 wide receivers for Seattle. Craig out of the shotgun, and he finds one of the wide receivers, Paul Scancy, for a first down. At the 37-yard line, he is stopped by Stephon Adams.
Scancy that time is lined up in the slot to Dave Craig's left. Nothing more than a simple, quick slat in pattern. And he gets in there easily, getting behind Stephon Adams, who gave him the inside breakaway, and that's exactly what Scansey was looking for.
4 wide receivers. Scansey was in there. Butler was in there. Turner and Largent.
1st and 10. Seattle trying to cash in on Jackson's fumble at the 39-yard line. As Warner is taken down after he reaches the 34-yard line, picking up about 5. It's Pickell and Robinson converging on the tackle.
You see the balance again that we watched last week against San Diego. Running the ball with a quick slant to Largent to Scansey. Running Kurt Warner inside and just controlling it. Makes it so difficult to cover the pass if you got to be thinking these guys can run it on me also.
Keep in mind what Frank had said earlier. This guy's banged up. Hasn't practiced in 3 weeks. And that turf toe, which is a injury to the big toe, you really have to wonder how effective a running back can be with that type of injury.
On 2nd and 4, it's Warner taking it down to about the 30-yard line, and that'll set up a 3rd down and 1. And we talked about Seattle's proficiency on 3rd and 1. In particular, when you look at Kurt Warner this season, Warner on 3rd and 1 has carried the ball, as you see, 14 times, and only in the Jets game, or Monday night game 3 weeks ago, did he fail to pick up a 1st down.
Does a lot for that offensive line also. They really blow out of there on a 3rd and short.
He's with Williams in the backfield, and this time they give it to Williams, and he has the 1st down. Matt Millen in on the tackle, but after the fact, and Seattle on the move down to the 27.
And that is nothing more than straightaway blocking at the line of scrimmage. Pushy shovey. That time the guys in the blue jerseys shoved the whites clear off the ball. Watch Blair Bush, the center, with the good block. Brian Millard, the right guard, comes down and seals off the nose tackle. And John L., no hesitation at all. That's the way you run on 3rd and short. You don't choose a hole, you make your own.
From the 27-yard line, Craig off the fake. Good protection. Swings it back, complete to John L. Williams, and he is tackled at the 21. Williams, a good runner, good receiver, and recall he played in the same backfield with Neil Anderson in Florida, and Ricky Nattiel was a wide receiver.
And Craig wanted to go deep. He had Warner out of the backfield. He looked there and then had to check off to Williams. But again, he had plenty of time.
Well, you know why? Watch the play action. Watch the right guard, Brian Millard, go that way. The left guard, Bailey's going to come this way, and then Williams out into the slot. But take a look at what that does at the line of scrimmage. I mean, watch how that freezes the inside linebackers. The 2 guards cross at the line of scrimmage. Williams out in the flat, does it after that.
Live on 2nd and 4 on the draw, Kurt Warner. He takes it to the 19-yard line, and again it will be 3rd and short, and Seattle has already converted 2 3rd down opportunities, and now they'll try for 3 on 3rd down and about 2.5. Football at the 19-yard line as the Seahawks on their 2nd possession, driving following a Bo Jackson fumble. 5:48 to play in a scoreless 1st quarter in Seattle. 3rd and 3 at the 19. And Craig goes for the end zone, wide open, touchdown, Darryl Turner.
Bit of an understatement about wide open. Largent was breaking underneath Turner. Turner just the man who was clearing out for Largent and totally released, wide open in the end zone.
Well, Largent and Turner did a crisscross about 3 or 4 yards past the line of scrimmage. Just totally confused the Raider secondary.
Norm Johnson for the extra point. And when Seattle gets down to the end zone, you can count on Turner. He's caught 99 passes in his career, 35 for touchdowns, an incredible percentage.
A look up front during the commercial. That's where it starts. All the time in the world for Dave Craig and Darryl Turner. That's one of the easiest touchdowns he'll get. And what L.A. didn't want, Seattle out front.
Well, you're the kind kind of man that likes to do things.
Seasons in the league, his last 64 catches have resulted in 25 touchdowns. He knows all about that end zone, and he knows all about giving Seattle a 7-0 margin here off a Bo Jackson fumble. So Seattle cashes in on the turnover. Norm Johnson to kick off. Vance Mueller and Doki Williams back for the Raiders. Williams from the 2. Tripped up at the 23, and a marker goes down. Our first penalty of the game. Brian Bosworth in on the tackle, and Jerry Markwright will assess the penalty against the Raiders.
Holding number 59 on the return. First down. Timeout.
Jamie Kimmel. And that'll move the ball back to the 12, and after a timeout, the Raiders begin from there. Seattle has the lead to play in the first quarter at Seattle, where the crowd always gets noisy when the Seattle defense is out there to try to jam the signals of the opposition. And here they go again with the wave and all, and Seattle leads 7-0. First and 10, Raiders from the 12. Wilson gives to Jackson on a draw. He breaks a tackle and then gets upended by Young at the 16-yard line.
Let's go back and look at the touchdown by Darrell Turner. Watch this sophisticated pattern. Turner's going to go in motion and then go downfield, break back to the outside. Steve Largent is going to cross him and come in underneath, and this totally confuses Ron Fellows and the Raiders secondary. Now Largent makes his break back underneath. Looks like part of the Raiders are playing zone. It looked like Ron Fellows thought that Darrell Turner was going to be picked up by someone else.
2nd and 6 at the 16-yard line. Wilson wide open is Christensen, the tight end, and Todd barrels out to the 37-yard line for a first down. And Gaines that time came blitzing through and leveled Mark Wilson.
And Todd Christensen catches his 30th pass of the year. He has not been all that effective. A man who caught 95 last year. Let's take a look at Wilson. He had time to get rid of the football, but he really paid the price waiting for Christensen to uncover. He was really hammered.
That was Greg Gaines, number 56, who came up the middle unblocked, and that's something the Raiders have done proficiently over the year, and that's get Todd Christensen into a soft spot in his zone defense.
That's his 30th catch. He leads the club. Fake pick. And then the toss goes to Jackson, who drops the ball. At Kansas City, that would be E7. Here, it's simply incomplete. 2nd and 10.
And last week in the game against Denver, on exactly the same play, on about Denver's 35-yard line, it was exactly the same result, where Bo dropped the football, but it was right after that that he came up with the big second quarter with a couple of touchdowns.
Interesting combination that the Raiders had out in the flat. They sent Marcus Allen on a fly, and Mark Wilson either was going to read Allen and get it to Allen or come back and get it to Bo Jackson. They covered Allen. He checked off to Jackson.
2nd and 10 at the 37, and again on a delay, Marcus Allen, and that play is busted up in the middle by Jeff Bryant, number 77.
And now the crowd will become a factor as we go into the type of situation that Tom Flores desperately wants to avoid with any sort of regularity in this game, and that is 3rd and long, an obvious passing situation, because from the top of this dome will cascade much noise.
It really affects the offensive linemen, too, doesn't it, Dan? They can't watch the ball. They have to watch the man across from them. It just changes things for them.
Well, you can't hear the quarterback, so you have to try to look at the football out of the corner of your eye.
On 3rd and 10. Wilson looking for Williams and hits him for a first down as he gets to the Seattle 46-yard line. He beat Terry Taylor over the middle with Eugene Robinson also helping to cover and in on the stop. But the Raiders are able to convert on 3rd and long.
And the Raiders got lucky because I think Brian Holloway, their left tackle, moved a little bit before the snap of the football. Doki Williams just the crossing pattern, and Terry Taylor locked up man on man. Wasn't in a good position at the very beginning. Looked somewhat surprised by Williams taking that route underneath and never did catch up.
2:45 to play first quarter, 7-0 Seattle. 1st and 10 Raiders from the 46-yard line. Wilson gets good protection, goes deep for a loss, and he's out in front, and touchdown. James Lofton beats Patrick Hunter, and the Raiders answer the Seahawks as they come right back down the field.
And did you see that second acceleration when he saw the football was out in front of him, Frank. I mean, a classic shifting of the gears and just stretching out from Hunter.
He still got it. He was a world-class long jumper many years ago at Stanford. Still has the great speed. Here he is, runs right by Hunter, and it was beautifully laid in there by Mark Wilson. And once again, Wilson had the time for the delivery, but rarely are you going to find these kinds of receivers on the same football field. Between Largett and Lofton, over 21,000 yards. Remarkable.
Chris Barr, out of Wilson's hold, kicks it through. And so after Seattle marches down the field, it's Lofton who answers for the Raiders. We're tied 7-7 with 2:33 to play in the first quarter. In the stadium since 1984. A field goal in 85, shutout last year. We're tied at 7 as Edmonds runs the kickoff back and is tackled out at the 17-yard line. So 2:25 remaining in the first quarter at the Kingdome, where Seattle and the Raiders are tied 7-7. Personally at 500 in his action against Seattle. And the Raiders lifetime trail Seattle 10-9. As it's Kurt Warner taking it out to the 23-yard line. Seattle, one of only 2 teams with a regular season edge over the Raiders in the history of the Raider franchise. The other would be the New England Patriots.
Let's go back and look at how the Raiders tied this football game up, and it was with James Lofton. Now here's James, here's Patrick Hunter. Now Lofton comes down. Rather than forcing him to the inside of the field, Hunter lets him go to the outside where he'll get no help from his free safety. A key move, because when you give James Lofton the outside of the field, you better be able to run with him.
And on second forward, John L. Williams goes nowhere. He is stopped by Sean Jones, number 9. And the ball is at the 24-yard line with a 3rd and 4 upcoming. The Boz freshly quaffed.
Is that a haircut or a brand? Well,
how many hours does that take to do that?
Maybe it's burned in there. He's a tough guy, you know. Maybe it's the old double X ranch or something.
3rd and 4 from the 24. Craig unloading, intended for John L. Williams, but he was covered by Martin, and Stacy Turan forced the issue with a safety blitz.
And a well-timed safety blitz. The key with a safety blitz is how well do you time it? How well do you disguise it? If you get right on the line of scrimmage, you show it. You can see that time that Turan was about 6 or 7 yards back. Craig didn't suspect it. John L. Williams certainly didn't. He never looked back for the football until it was too late.
4th down and 4. And Ruben Rodriguez, the left-footed kicker, 5th-round draft choice out of Arizona, and very, very inconsistent. Kicked well early on and not very well over the past month. And this is a short, wobbly kick, but he gets another good bounce, or a decent bounce anyway, as it finally goes out of bounds at the 41-yard line. And the Raiders will take over there. Well, November turns into December, and so college basketball really heats up on ABC's College Basketball, a season premiere. And what an attraction for you. Doubleheader, Notre Dame takes on Louisville. National champion Indiana taking on Kentucky. And it comes your way this Saturday on our season premiere of ABC's College Basketball. And that'll come to you from another dome, the one in Indianapolis, the Hoosier Dome. Here at the Kingdome, 1st and 10. Los Angeles at the 41-yard line. Game tied. And Bo Jackson gets a block and gets the first down as he takes it to the 44-yard line. And the way was led by Charlie Hanna, number 73.
You saw the size and the acceleration. It's hard to believe that he can do this at 6'1" and about 230 pounds. He found a little opening, got a block, as you said, Al, from Charlie Hanna, who was just back into the lineup for the Raiders in this makeshift offensive line. That's Hanna, number 73. Number 76 is Holloway, coming all the way from the left side. But then when it closed down on him, he just put his head down and bowls him on his own for about 3 or 4 yards. What power.
Jackson comes out for a breather, so Allen is the sole setback in this set with Lofton left and Williams right, and Trey Duncan in as a double tight end along with Christensen. And it's Marcus Allen after a gain of about 2, taking it to the 42 and making it 2nd and 8, and that will do it for the first quarter. So 15 minutes gone at the Kingdom, and at the end of the first quarter, it's the Raiders 7 and Seattle 7. As we begin the second quarter, this ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Braun. Braun products are designed to perform better. It's only through superior design that superior performance can be achieved. Al Michaels with Frank Gifford and Dan Deerdorf. Monday Night Football from the Great Northwest. Seattle 7-7 as we start the second quarter. Raiders have the ball at the Seattle 42-yard line. 2nd down and 8 with Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen. Both in. Wilson the quarterback. Lofton left and Doki Williams to the right. Williams in motion. And Bo Jackson follows Allen and bangs his way down to the 30-yard line for another Raider first down, and Marcus Allen laid down the block, taking Eugene Robinson out.
I looked at Dan. Dan looked at me and said, hey, this guy is different.
I don't know. It might be better to get blocked than have to try to tackle this guy. Look at Marcus Allen. That's the kind of work you have to do, but that's Kenny Easley, one of the hardest hitters in the league, a strong safety, number 45, that just bounced off of Bo Jackson.
Granted, he's playing with a bad shoulder, tackles with the wrong shoulder, but that's a good way to get another bad shoulder.
From the 30-yard line, it's Jackson. And it takes about 4 of them to get him down at the 28-yard line. Bo Jackson, he's used to bouncing off people. Just ask Rick Dempsey, catching for the Cleveland Indians in July. This little comebacker to Scott Bales. He comes home, and Dempsey goes home.
Broke his thumb on that particular play on the collision. Rick Dempsey was out, did not come back. You can see him clutching his left arm. I saw Rick at the World Series, and he said, that's just not fair. A guy 230 pounds getting a clean shot.
2nd down and 8 from the 28-yard line, and the catch is made by Todd Christensen. A first down at the 18, his second catch.
The Raiders' offensive line, a makeshift offensive line, has been that way all year long because of injuries. They have started their 11th different offensive line tonight, but they are doing a fine job protecting for Mark Wilson. The Seahawks are doing a lot of dealing up there, trying to confuse them, and it's very difficult to learn to block offensively against the pass, Dan, unless you've had an opportunity to work together for a period of time.
It is the key more than anything else, Frank, playing on the offensive line. Getting some continuity. 11 lines in 11 games. That's not the way to do it.
This is Marcus Allen taking it to the 14, and that time it was Steve Smith, a rookie out of Penn State, in at fullback as Jackson came to the bench. Brian Bosworth in on the stop.
Now just think about what Marcus Allen is being asked to do this season. He played fullback the previous play. That time switches back to tailback, and Bo Jackson goes out. As we look at Steve Smith, who came in to play that play at fullback, but Marcus Allen is having to change roles play by play from blocker to runner to receiver. There aren't many superstars in the game that are that unselfish.
You know, what goes round comes round. A lot of people forget at one point early in his career at USC, Charles White was the key back, and Marcus was asked to do some blocking for White on his way to a Heisman.
Man's had an interesting career. He was a high school quarterback, an all-state quarterback at San Diego. He can do a lot of things. We have timeout. We'll be back in a moment.
Like Steve Smith, he's used so sparingly now since Jackson came over from the Kansas City Royals. And another look at how he got hurt, number 35 on the block.
He's to the right of our screen, and the tackler, as he's bringing down Marcus Allen right into the back of the leg of Steve Smith, and he's on the Raider bench. We'll give you a report as soon as one becomes available.
2nd down and 7, and for the first time now, Wilson comes up and can't hear the signal.
And it'll get louder.
Well, his teammates the ones, obviously, who can't hear the signal, so he'll back away.
Well, how important is this series for the Raiders, who have a chance to take a lead in this ball game? Their last 4 games, they have trailed by 28, 23, 18, and 16 points. And here in one of the toughest stadiums in the league in which to win on the road, they've got a chance to take the lead in the second quarter.
Could go up there and go on a quick count, but you take away any option to change the play at the line of scrimmage, and right now this will do nothing to spark this crowd. They'll really turn it loose.
And Wilson knowing what he's going to get on 2nd and 7 at the 14. Just waiting. With a wry smile. In no hurry to do anything. Mark Wright wants the Seahawks to try to quiet the crowd.
Boy, there's a great effort. That convinced me.
Second and 7 at the 14-yard line. Jackson goes in motion for the first time. Wilson protected well, wide open is Jackson for the touchdown. Bo in motion, goes to the corner of the end zone. Fred Young that time blitzed. He was picked up by Marcus Wilson. That enabled Marcus Allen, and it enables Mark Wilson to hit Jackson for the touchdown.
Full-blown defense. There's no question about it. Somebody should have come off the blitz to pick him up. No one even near him.
Well, that's because one of the Seahawks defenders fell down on the play. We'll take a look at this from another angle, but the guy who's supposed to be covering Bo Jackson on the play ends up on the ground. Let's see if we can spot it from this angle. But when Bo makes his break to the end zone, and I don't think we're going to see it there, one of the Seahawk defenders ends up on the ground, and that's why number 34 is wide open.
Barr with Wilson holding, boots it through, and so the Raiders, who had fallen behind early, have come back with back-to-back touchdowns on successive drives and lead 14-7.
This is Bo Jackson just down, but watch this guy right here. When he makes his break, down he goes onto the ground. Jackson in motion. He makes his cut to the inside and to the ground. And I think that's Kenny Easley who gets back up. Yes, it is. Kenny Easley fell. That's why Bo Jackson gives the Raiders the lead on an easy touchdown.
Bo Jackson, who ran for 2 scores last week, picks up his first NFL touchdown on a pass. And the Raiders are on top by a score of 14-7. As Barr puts it in the air, and Edmonds takes it at the 7. Edmonds out past the 25 and then ridden down out at the 30-yard line. They take the ball away. Jamie Kimmel was in on the tackle, and the ball winds up in the hands of Steve Strahan, but after the play was blown dead. Next week, it's the New York Jets in a 3-way tie for the top spot of the AFC East at 6-5. Against the Miami Dolphins, who try to rebound after yesterday's thrashing at the hands of Buffalo, 27-0 from Joe Robbie Stadium next Monday. Jets Dolphins. Seahawks now at their own 31. 12:09 to play in the half. And Craig gets dropped at the 25. There's no flag. Jerry Robinson comes charging through. And the Raiders came flying across the line.
Well, they blitzed both of their inside linebackers. Matt Millen came as well, and they timed it pretty well. Both of them hitting the line of scrimmage. Watch them both come into the screen. There's Millen at the top, Robinson the near man, and there just aren't enough blue shirts there. John L. Williams tries to get up and make the block, and actually does, but not before Jerry Robinson gets that arm on Dave Craig's jersey.
2nd down and 16. And it's Largent, and the streak is now 148, who makes the catch out at the 30-yard line. Steve Largent picking up about 4, and that extends his streak, which he broke last year. He broke Harold Carmichael's record. He now has caught a pass in 148 straight.
Simple little pattern. Just keep in mind, nobody works harder than Largent. You saw him do the little breakout, break it back, give you the angle, but nobody works harder than he does in practice. He's probably done that particular little execution with Craig maybe 1,000 times, maybe 2,000 times. He just gets it down to perfection.
3rd down and 11 out of the shotgun with 4 wide receivers. Craig stepping up and stepping out and stepping out of bounds out at the 32-yard line, but the Raiders secondary did their job, and Seattle will have to kick.
That was the key to it. The secondary had the receivers covered, and particularly Turner coming across, right across the middle. He was the intended receiver. Craig couldn't get there. And good coverage by the Raiders.
Now Ruben Rodriguez to kick, and that's Chris Woods. Back to receive.
Teammate of Bo Jackson's.
Yeah. Went to Canada. And now playing with the Raiders. And Rodriguez, two pretty ugly punts, but not bad in terms of numbers, 42 and 35, because he's gotten some good bounces.
Last week he had a 2-yarder. He had it down himself.
This one's a wobbly, average kick, and Woods falls down, and it will turn out to be a beauty on the stat sheet because it will be downed at the 5-yard line.
That's a 30-yard mistake by Woods.
And it turns a 33-yard punt into a 63-yard punt.
Rodriguez threats off. And there you see Woods trying to get back to the ball. It did not turn over. Rodriguez has not had one turnover tonight. But what a...
Ruben Rodriguez someday can tell his children he just established a Seattle record with a 63-yard punt. My son, you should have seen that kick.
On the heels of me talking about his 2-yarder last week.
I hope he doesn't have a video of it to show his son.
Herman Weaver held the old mark.
That's underfoot.
62, and he did it twice. First down, L.A. from the 5, and Wilson going right up top and going deep for Lofton, and Lofton is out of bounds. Out of bounds. Covered by Terry Taylor.
Well, if that looks familiar to you, that's classic Raider football. Going over the top out of their own end zone. The Raiders from anywhere on the field will go long, and that time Mark Wilson just didn't have enough arm. James Lofton was a couple yards beyond Terry Taylor and had to break stride, come back for the ball, which ultimately ended up out of bounds.
Wilson off to a good start tonight. His club ahead 14-7. And it's Marcus Allen taking it out to the 8-yard line. Marcus's brother Damon plays with the Edmonton Eskimos, and he celebrates a championship today as the Eskimos beat the Toronto Argonauts in the Grey Cup, the championship of Canadian football yesterday.
Hard to believe their season is over already.
No, it's just heating up.
Allen, in his last 3 games against Seattle, has been held in check early in his career. He did a lot of damage against the Seahawks. 3rd down and 6 at the 9. And Bo Jackson to the 20 and out in front, and only one man to beat, and easily can't run him down. He had the angle, but there goes Bo, and nobody catches Bo. Touchdown.
He may not stop till Tacoma. He's gone.
Portland.
He just went by Spokane.
And there go the Raiders into final. What a scene.
Come on back, guys.
Oh, he was flying. Tremendous block by Marcus Allen against Patrick Hunter. That's twice they have used Bo Jackson on that same play. They did it on a 2nd down and long a while ago. They got a 1st down. They come back now and go 3rd and about 6. And not only get the 1st down, they get the touchdown. And he is an awesome weapon.
And keep in mind, that was a 3rd down play from the 9-yard line. 3rd and 6. You'll see Dean Miraldi, the center, pull out of there. Steve Wright, the right tackle. But, I mean, it's over right there. Kenny Easley has the angle. And it's like little kids chasing a grown man.
It's the longest run in Raider history. Kenny King won 89 yards in 1980. And it's almost unfair the way Bo Jackson has looked the last couple of weeks. And the Raiders may be going through a 7-game losing streak at the moment. But Mr. Bo Jackson is in the silver and black. And what a difference that's going to make.
Heard so much about
how long?
Football abilities. We look at it again. He was also in the semifinals of the NCAA 60-meter championship. There you see just putting a straight arm on poor Eugene Robinson, who had no chance. You have got to tackle somebody like this low, and that's what Chuck Knox talked about today. Robinson did not get in on him, and he just turns on that tremendous speed and races away from Easley.
Well, it's just like a track meet, too, where they disappear. They cross the finish line, break the tape, and disappear under the stands, and that's exactly what Bo does.
This is Bo Jackson right here. Marcus Allen, watch his lead block. Right tackle, right guard, both pull and lead up. But when he gets to this point right here, I'm afraid that's nothing more than sheer unadulterated speed.
There's Allen on Hunter.
There's Miraldi out in front, but he never even gets into the play. Both his offensive linemen are just totally out of it because Bo Jackson saw the hole and just outruns not only his own players, but everybody in the blue jersey as well.
You know, Easley is not a blazing speedster, but that's kind of embarrassing.
Well, he ain't slow either.
Yep.
The fastest man on the Raider team, and just stop and think what I'm saying. That's a team that has James Lofton, a world-class sprinter, and Bo Jackson easily the fastest.
Edmonds takes Barnes' kick at the 5 and brings it back out to the 29-yard line, stopped by Andy Parker with 9:33 to go in the first half, and this crowd suddenly very quiet, stunned, and I think very much in awe at the moment, as is Chuck Knox.
You look back over what's transpired. You got the touchdown pass, even though he easily slipped on that by Bo Jackson. You got a key first down on a 2nd and long yardage by Bo Jackson. They kept that drive alive, and now you have Jackson just doing it almost on his own, taking it all the way. He is responsible for all 21 of those points. Do something.
1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. Knocked down. Largent was the intended receiver, and knocking it down and almost picking it off was Stacy Turan.
The Raiders falling back into a zone, expecting pressure up front. Howie Long, a man who has almost been forgotten because of this situation. Every time that man rushes the quarterback, there are 2 men on him. There's Largent trying to find the seam in the zone, and Turan with a nice play from the inside, got both hands on the football, but just couldn't pull it in. Largent was in the right spot. Turan just played it very well.
2nd and 10, Seattle at the 29. Raiders ahead 21-7. Craig pressured. Throws complete out to the 32-yard line. Catch made there by the tight end Tice. And it will be 3rd down coming up. 3rd down and about 6.
And the Seattle defensive people, their defensive coordinator Tom Catlin, Chuck Knox and all, they're desperately wanting their offensive team here to give them a little break. Pick up a couple first downs, at least get 2 first downs before you have to punt the football away. Granted, they're really looking for points, but they've got to convert this 3rd down or all the momentum in the world is riding with LA.
3rd down and call it 7 to go out of the shotgun. 3rd and 7. Scansey makes the catch. Scansey got inside James Davis, the 6th defensive back for the Raiders. And Scansey able to get position on him, take the pass, and pick up the first down at the 45-yard line.
Seattle using the motion. The outside receiver is Turner. Watch him go. Scansey works underneath, gets inside. It's a good throw from Dave Craig, but look how the motion is being used by Seattle. That's Ray Butler that goes in motion. Scansey works in underneath and gets inside James Davis, but we've seen how effective that's been early for Seattle, using that outside crisscrossing motion with their wide receivers.
Seahawks at their own 45-yard line. Fake to Williams, blitz is on, sack, a fumble, loose ball at the 30-yard line as Mark Wright takes a look, and Seattle is able to maintain possession back at the 30 after a 15-yard loss.
And Kurt Warner was the only Seahawk that had a shot at that ball. A couple of different Raiders had a play on the football.
Both outside linebackers coming. Lyndon King, the former Charger. Rod Martin coming from his right side, and really nowhere for Craig to go. There comes King on the right, and here comes Rod Martin. And it was Lyndon King who got the hand in there to pull the ball loose.
And if Kurt Warner doesn't pull that up, you see nothing but white jerseys there. That could have easily been a Raider touchdown.
2nd down, 24 from the 31-yard line. Craig pressured again and sacked at the 22-yard line.
That's going to be a fumble.
That's loose.
And the Raiders have it. The Raiders have it. Greg Townsend with the pop. Sean Jones with the recovery.
Raiders fired up defensively by the play of Bo Jackson as well. You've just seen the momentum gradually change until it swung all the way to the Raiders, and a great play by Greg Townsend.
Well, there's a limit to how long the quarterback can hold on to the football. And Dave Craig really had pretty good protection initially. Inside, Howie Long takes the inside. Bill Pickell loops around from behind. But Dave Craig still looking downfield, doesn't even seem to sense the pressure. And Greg Townsend coming in from his right, from Craig's right, makes the play.
And so the Raiders, ahead by 14, have a 1st and 10 at the Seattle 21-yard line. 7:06 to go in the half.
And who'd have thunk it?
Yeah. Well, a break for the Seahawks here. Bo Jackson, for the moment, is on the sideline. As Vance Mueller is the tailback, and Mueller with his first carry does a pretty good Jackson imitation, taking it down to the 13-yard line for a gain of close to 9.
Bosworth getting buffeted around a bit there. Coming off the line of scrimmage. Popping Bosworth was Maraldi, the right guard, just flying right out into his face.
First time this season the Raiders have scored touchdowns on 3 straight possessions, and it's Marcus Allen for a first down and setting up a 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. And the Raiders have done exactly what Tom Flores wanted. He's taken the crowd out of the game. It's very silent in the normally noisy Kingdom because of what you're looking at right there. Those 3 consecutive touchdowns, and now a 1st and goal at the 5.
Quiet, they're stunned. And again, it's an offensive line, a makeshift offensive line. 11th time they've come with a new offensive line, and they are blowing the Seahawks out of there right now.
1st and goal. Marcus Allen takes it to the 2, and there's a marker.
On a running play, that's probably going to be holding on the offense. You see that more often than you would think on running plays. Jerry Markwright gives us the call, and the Raiders, who've been having it pretty much their way, now are going to have to work a little extra hard for a touchdown. Hey, how do you think this game right now is being received in San Diego and Denver?
Holding, number 72, offense, 1st down.
Inside the 10-yard line, the Raiders have been very proficient. As you see, the NFL average 64%, but the Raiders, once they get inside the 10, have pushed it in 83%, or 5 out of every 6 times. In other words, they've been inside the 10. They've gone in. Hanna, the man who was whistled for the last infraction, and now it's 1st and goal back out at the 15-yard line. Jackson still on the bench with Mueller and Allen the backs, and Marcus Allen gets stopped for no gain. Bryant got him around the legs, and another marker is down here. This game, of course, being received very well in San Diego and Denver at this point. Here's Markwright again, another holding call against the Raiders. If the Raiders win this game, San Diego stays alone on top, and Seattle would drop behind Denver.
Number 77, offense, 1st down.
The just activated Chris Ream.
He just came into the lineup for Charlie Hanna, who had to go out. Charlie Hanna re-injured. He's over the sidelines. They're looking at him, and it is Chris Ream now. And once again, the Raiders have to make an adjustment in their offensive line.
So 1st and goal now out at the 25-yard line. Lofton left and Williams to the right. And Mueller goes in motion. Toss to Marcus Allen, and he gets bottled up at the 23-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and goal. The run by Bo Jackson of 91 yards is the longest run in the National Football League since Tony Dorsett went 99 on a Monday night for an NFL record. January of '83, the tail end of the '82 season, and it's the longest run since that night.
That was against Minnesota, wasn't it? You know, in this long yardage situation here, I might ask Bo Jackson if he felt like playing a couple plays.
2nd down, goal. Green to Allen inside the 20. Marcus inside the 10, and he takes it down to the 6-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and goal. And Marcus Allen has just caught a pass in his 64th consecutive game, as you see, a Raiders record.
Good call, long yardage. Pump fake it downfield. Allen set up like he's going to block, slips out, gets a couple of blockers out in front of him, and the Seahawks defense all dispersed downfield, and Allen takes it down inside the 10, close to the 6-yard line.
3rd down goal, 4 minutes to play in the half. 21-7, Raiders.
Wilson buying a lot of time, throwing into the end zone, and incomplete. Good coverage. Todd Christensen couldn't hang on. Robinson was there, and Gaines as well, number 56.
Well, you have to wonder how Mark Wilson has that much time. It's not even play action faking or anything up front. He just drifted back, rolled to his left, and had a good 7 or 8 seconds. Boy, do you have to pass along some credit to the Seahawks secondary for staying with their people for that length of time.
So now Barr to attempt the field goal. Wilson holding at the 13-yard line. 23-yard attempt. And the Raiders come away with 3 after the Seattle fumble. Over the last 3 years, Barr is now 21 of 21 inside 30 yards. So that was an automatic for him. And the Raiders, with 3:42 to go in the first half, lead Seattle 24-7. Go figure it. A couple of weeks ago, we saw Seattle against the Jets. Figured there was no way the Jets win the game, and they do. Seattle looked so great last week against San Diego, and now they've got a major problem.
And we talked to Chuck Knox today, and what's the word he uses to describe the way they played against the Jets? I mean, he almost apologized for it. He said, I was totally humiliated and embarrassed the way we played Monday night against the Jets. Well, Chuck, get used to the feeling. It's happening again. This has got to be some kind of a nightmare, and especially the way, think what he feels, the way San Diego has been cooperating, losing here, and giving the Seahawks a chance to get back in it, and now they're on the verge of blowing it.
I like Bo Jackson's deal. He comes in, gets you 14 points, goes off, takes a little bit of a breather. He's got a lot of contracts. I wonder if maybe he has something written in this one.
How do you think Tom Flores feels about Bo Jackson? I mean, you get excited when you can see what he can do, but I mean, it's like, you know, you only have it until the end of December. That big question mark. What happens next?
Half a loaf is a lot better than none. That kick is fielded, and not a good move by Edmonds, who stepped out of bounds. If he lets it go out of bounds, they get it at the 35-yard line. That's the worst thing you can do. Make the catch and step out of bounds.
And you're talking about the best in the business, too. A Pro Bowler as a return man. Here's Edmonds, who's been hurting from bad ribs. That had nothing to do with this. And he caught himself, but of course he stepped right on the line. And leaves Seattle in deep trouble when, as Al mentioned, they could have had it at the 35-yard line. You can see it from the reverse angle. He's okay here, but he does catch the line when he tries to keep it inbounds. There it is. They're right on top of it.
Good camera work catching that.
Our guys are all right.
Well, the crowd started to boo. They only showed half the replay, which was why they started to boo, and then up popped the NFL logo on the screen because they don't want to show the crowd controversial calls. Had they let it run, the crowd would have understood he was out of bounds.
Right. Well, bring a portable TV.
Yeah. First and 10, Seattle from the 5-yard line. Warner gives him a little bit of breathing room out to the 9 with 3:30 to go in the first half.
They're down 24-7. I know Chuck Knox would love to get something on the board, but he has to be very careful down there. You turn it over down there, and boom, you could go in very easily 31-7 down.
When you're this far from scoring, you're really not thinking points right now. You're thinking ball control. You're thinking first downs. You're thinking of escaping without giving the other team the opportunity to score. I don't think Chuck Knox is thinking points right now. He's thinking first down.
2nd and 5 from the 10. Warner. And Warner tries to get the first down. He's out of bounds, very close to it at the 15-yard line. Run out by McElroy. 2:51 with the clock stopped now. 2:51 left in the half. Kurt Warner, the great rookie year when he led the AFC in rushing, and then the knee injury opening day of '84, and that put him out for the rest of the year. His career appeared to be in jeopardy after the major surgery, but back he's come strong as ever.
Talked so many times about it. Major knee reconstruction, and he came back, of course, with back-to-back seasons of over 1,000 yards in '85 and '86.
Those yardage figures we threw up there are astounding. Not often do you see a team over 300 yards at the half. The Raiders already are, and The Seahawks well below 100. It's a lot of times those yardage figures don't add up to the scoreboard, but in this case they certainly do.
They need an important yard here to keep possession. 3rd and inches from the 15-yard line. And Warner gets buried. He gets hit by Stacy Turan, but it appeared that his progress should give him the first down. Seal says no, but they'll, with a flag down as well, they'll mark it outside the 15-yard line.
Malcolm Taylor, number 96, does a good job at the line of scrimmage standing things up, and Torrin came in there, and my gosh, what a hit he puts on Kurt Warner.
Meanwhile, the penalty is against the Raiders, or against Seattle rather, but the Raiders want to see whether it's a first down or not. If it's a first down, they'll take the penalty.
Holding number 59, offense, 3rd down.
It would have been a first down, so it's Blair Bush, and that'll push him back.
Watch Stacy Torrin come in on this play. This short yardage only going for 6 inches. He'll come in from the lower right of our screen. See him drop back off of the ball. Now he reads it in the hole. Face to face.
So back to the 7. 3rd and 7. Largent can't make the catch and appeared to get pushed as well. Stacy Turan with the coverage, but no flag.
If we could, let's take a look up front at Howie Long. Remember I told you how this guy constantly gets double teamed? Well, he's starting this thing off working against Edwin Bailey. In comes Blair Bush, the center, and even the right guard, Brian Millard, works over. Largent makes his break to the inside. He's working against number 43, Sam Seal. Just right before he made the break, there was some contact with Seal, but ruled in the eyes of the official to be incidental.
Now Ruben Rodriguez, who's living right, 46.7 tonight, but his average on the fly is about 28.3. Woods at the 44-yard line and runs it back to the 37. So the Raiders are in good shape as they take over at the 37. Keith Butler, the one-time starting linebacker, long-time Seahawk starter, makes the tackle. 37-yard kick, a 7-yard run back, and 2:09 to play in the first half.
And that man with the big S on his chest is back in there, number 34.
Having dressed in the phone booth, and here he comes. Meanwhile, we will be at Joe Robbie Stadium next Monday. The New York Jets on top, along with Buffalo and Indy in the AFC East, take on the Miami Dolphins.
And I'm sure that's just what Seattle's defensive players want to see. Bo Jackson back in the game.
Wilson shovels it to Marcus Allen. And Allen gets pushed back after taking it to the 33-yard line by Brian Bosworth.
I know what you Seattle fans are saying. How come that's not a sack? Keep in mind the ruling there is grasp and control. Mark Wilson was in the grasp, not the control, and he got rid of the ball.
This game is in the grasp and control of the Raiders at the 2-minute warning. LA by 17. Blanda kicking a game-tying field goal at the gun. They tie Kansas City at 17. Then in week 8, they trailed Cleveland by 7 in the 4th period. He had Warren Wells for a touchdown, eventually kicked a game-winning field goal. Then in week 9, they trailed Denver with 2:28 to go in the game. Blanda hit Fred Biletnikoff with a game-winning touchdown. And then the following week against San Diego with the score tied, it was Blanda, a 16-yard field goal to give the then Oakland Raiders a 20-17 victory, saving the Raiders from defeat 4 weeks in a row. Tom Flores watching his team on top by 17. Flores winning the Super Bowl twice as a coach. And watching his team tonight attempting to snap a 7-game losing streak.
Bo Jackson split out as a receiver to the near side here.
And it's Allen on 2nd down and 7 to the 29-yard line, where it will be 3rd down and 2 coming up. As the clock runs down, the Raiders have all of their timeouts remaining. Coming up at the half, the Goodyear halftime report. The Raiders playing a scintillating first half tonight, but major problems thus far, and we'll detail them and also have a look at the New Orleans Saints. And Jim Mora will be with us live from New Orleans. The Saints ensuring their first ever winning season yesterday. 3rd and 2. Williams in motion. And Wilson hits Allen, but he gets buried at the 29-yard line by Fred Young. And Barr will lead the field goal unit out.
Haven't seen a lot of Freddie Young tonight. That's because nobody's been tackling Bo Jackson on the Raiders in their big plays, but that time locked up one-on-one. He was right there on Marcus.
Interesting, too. Key down, 2nd and long, 3rd and long. They did not go to Bo Jackson.
The Raiders did not want a timeout. You could see Tom Flores. Christensen came out and was signaling for a timeout. Flores didn't want a timeout. They're going to kick a field goal. There's no way they want to stop the clock here.
First charge timeout, Raiders.
And that's a mistake.
Well, now the question is who called the timeout?
Christensen came out. I saw Christensen signal time, and Mark Bright then made the motion for a timeout, and you could see Flores reacting because the clock was running down. If anybody was going to stop the clock here, it's Seattle to conserve time. The Raiders had 22 left on the 30 and 49 seconds on the clock, and Christensen now talking it over with Flores. What happened?
At the very least, they would have taken the 30-second clock down to nothing before they called that timeout.
Probably telling Tom that my hand was itching. I was just scratching the palm of my hand.
Fat chance. That was an emphatic call that Christensen made.
That's a tough sell, huh?
Yeah. Very tough on the game films. Chris Barr, who once kicked in the North American Soccer League for Philadelphia in the mid-70s. This is a 47-yard attempt. And the kick is long enough, and the kick is good.
It's all going right.
47-yard field goal for Barr. Raiders cash in again and lead by a score of 27-7.
Barr's longest field goal.
One thing about these two teams, they play routes. Last year, we were here on a Monday night. At the half, Seattle led 24-0 en route to a 37-0 victory. This year, at the half in L.A., the week after the strike, it was 28-0 Seattle. And tonight, 27-7 Raiders.
Well, you stop and think about what have the Seahawks done so far this football game, with the exception of the big play by with the exception of their lone touchdown, which came extremely early. The Seahawks haven't moved the ball at all. I mean, these guys haven't gone anywhere. They haven't even been able to string together a couple of first downs to keep the Raider offensive team off the field. I mean, it's been a total offensive collapse for Seattle.
Total momentum change. Seattle came out all sparked up, crowd all behind them, and all of a sudden Bo Jackson did some superhuman things on the football field and got the big play from James Lofton, and it's been all Raiders. They've been waiting to explode, though. This is a team with too much talent to have been playing the way they've been playing.
Bo Jackson has been all over the place tonight. We know what he's done offensively. Remember, he fumbled early in the game, and that set up Seattle's score. Here's Edmonds taking the ball out to the 23-yard line. And Seattle, should they elect to use them, has all 3 timeouts remaining with 39 seconds to play in the half. Raiders scoring on 5 of their last 6 possessions. Touchdown, 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 field goal, field goal. And the Seahawks have been dormant. Shotgun and 4 receivers at the 23. Drops it at the 36-yard line.
Yancey was stunned, I think, when James Davis didn't get a hand on it. He thought Davis was going to deflect it, and it almost knocked Yancey down. A little embarrassing. There is James Davis. Good position right in front of him. He just missed it. Could have even thought about intercepting it. Yancey said, well, what is this, baby? Put the strings up, I might get it.
A no-no for a receiver, though, rather than looking at Davis.
Look at all the way in your hands.
Your concentration's on the football.
2nd and 10 from the 23. Out of bounds. Stephon Adams gets credit for the tackle with 28 seconds to play in the half. And it'll be third down and let's call it 3 at the 30-yard line. The Kingdom, normally so noisy, and right now pretty silent. As Bo Jackson and his mates have put on the whole show for the first half. 27-7 Los Angeles. Craig looking for the first down, and he may not have it.
Oh, he made a mistake, Al. I think he stepped out early.
It appears that's where they're going to mark it. He's looking for the red stripe along the sidelines, the marker there. And it depends on the spot, obviously.
Well, you can't go just by that marker because the chains are on this side of the field. Let's see what happens, folks.
That's not the official first down marker. As Dan said,
they'll bring the chains in and measure this one. Did he get it?
Apparently they're giving it to him.
Yeah, they are.
A first down.
Actually, those chains are on the other side of the field.
Recognize that man? Jim Plunkett. He is on the physically unable to perform list. The Raiders, in a best case scenario, would have activated Plunkett sometime in the middle of the season. He's on that what they call a PUP list, even though he is physically able to play, should they elect to activate him, and they've given no indication of such a maneuver at this point.
Oh, look at holy moly.
From the 33-yard line, Scansey really pays the price. Stacy Turan levels him at the 44, first down.
They'll do anything to Howie Long. They've been double teaming him all night. Watch the bottom of your screen now. Working against Mattis. And almost takes his wardrobe off.
Well, Howie brings a lot of that upon himself because of that underarm. Watch the rip. You see that left arm go up underneath there? That's really not so much the offensive lineman holding him as Howie putting himself in that position by using that rip technique.
Casey Turan is really hammering body. You saw that shot against Scansey.
That was Turan that came in before. Remember on the short yardage, he got called back and hit Kurt Warner right in the face. But, boy, this time he just levels Scansey. Let's take another look at this one from behind all the time in the world. And, hey, Paul Scansey shows a little something popping up from that thing like it was just a walk in the park. That's a major league stroke.
He couldn't have fumbled if he wanted to.
Seattle, after taking a timeout, 11 seconds remain. 4 receivers, and Craig out of the shotgun from the 44-yard line. For Largent, and he does not get out of bounds. He doesn't get out of bounds, and the clock keeps going, and Largent takes a timeout with 1 second. One play.
Boy, I can't agree with that call. I don't agree with that either. How does the official say that he's still in bounds?
Everyone now complaining. No question he was out of bounds. Great toss to get it to him. First of all, Largent knowing exactly what he had to do. He had to get it out of bounds, and there he is, driven out of bounds.
Oh, that's a terrible call by the official. I mean, I know the intent, but still, even though the contact is initiated in the field of play, in one continuous motion, Steve Largent is out of bounds.
But how smart is Largent, though? Because Largent realized he kept the clock going, and he got up. And in reality now, they'll only put, if they want to overrule this
and
on the replay, they'll only put a couple of extra seconds back on the clock, so there'll still only be time for 1 play.
The clock back to 3 seconds.
All right, so
3 seconds on the clock.
They agree on the replay that he was out of bounds. It really doesn't matter the way it turns out. They're going to get 1 play anyway. But how smart is Largent to understand what was happening there within 2 seconds and take the time out?
He knew exactly what he had to do. He's such a heady football player. First of all, there's no question that he was out of bounds. But you're right, he kept his cool, knew he had to stop the clock, and he did it. And got the Seahawks in a position where they could put 3 on the board.
Norm Johnson, who can kick them from more than 50, especially indoors, a 54-yard attempt from the 44-yard line. And the kick is no good. Had the distance, but wide to the left. And so that's the end of the half. Bo Jackson. Welcome to the National Football League. Los Angeles 27 and Seattle 7.
From the 7, the Raiders over the Seahawks, and the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company is bringing you our halftime. No matter how far you go, Goodyear takes you home. Well, a big first half for the Raiders, a troubled football team coming into tonight. They had lost 7 straight. They have not done that since Al Davis took over back in 1963. And Al, I know you make your home in Los Angeles, and you've had a chance to keep tabs on them much more closely than we have. You had a chance to even spend some time with them this week. They have been troubled, but it looks like they have really come out of it big tonight.
Tonight they have, Frank, but last year, when you think back, the cracks began to show. And in this season, they won their first 3, but then the 7-game losing streak. And tonight, notwithstanding, you think about their slogans and their mottos, commitment to excellence and pride and poise, and they sounded like empty phrases on the heels of a 7-game winning streak. Tonight, notwithstanding, what has happened to the Oakland/Los Angeles/Irwindale Raiders? It's worth an investigation. This is the city, Los Angeles, California, and you don't need Joe Friday to figure out the Raiders won't be heading south on the San Diego freeway to the next Super Bowl. Just 2 years ago, the Raiders won the AFC West, but now the only thing they're in contention for is a high #1 choice in next spring's draft.
It's been very frustrating for us because we're really not used to this type of a season. Usually at this time of the year, we're in the hunt, and right now we're struggling.
With the talent we have, there's no way I could ever envision. I still can't envision. It's like a bad dream.
The season began promisingly with a pair of wins over Green Bay and Detroit. But then came the strike.
Immediately after the strike, there was a lot of tension, and there were a lot of guys not, like I said, not even communicating. And we went beyond that. You know, we had some coaches not even communicating. So it's taken its toll.
You can't miss a week. You can't miss a day of practice. And the strike really hurt us because we have just entirely too many young people in there and not enough experience. And it really, you know, now it's like on-the-job training. We learn as we go, and unfortunately, that hasn't been very good for us.
The season started with young Rusty Hilger at quarterback, but his inconsistent play led to his benching 2 weeks ago, and it was Mark Wilson, long considered the successor to Jim Plunkett, who again got the call.
We've had a different starting offensive lineup every week, every game, and that kind of takes away some of the continuity. We switched quarterbacks, and I mean, there's a lot. We've had some injuries. We've had a tremendous amount of injuries to our offensive linemen.
The Raiders' offensive line has definitely been another major problem, where not long ago it was Upshaw and Shell and Lawrence and Dolby. Today it's a chore to simply find 5 healthy bodies.
For 2 decades now, the Raiders have been perceived as a bunch of renegades, embodied by people like John Matuzak, Lyle Alzado, Ted Hendricks, Jack Tatum. They're all gone now. And so, maybe, is the image of the Raiders as we once knew them.
We've drafted a different breed of athlete, and they basically cleaned out all the troublemakers. And I think, well, for us, we needed that. We needed a little a problem here and a problem there, and to keep everybody loose. And at this point, we don't have it.
One positive step for the Raiders is the acquisition of Bo Jackson, but even his presence could eventually create another problem. Can 2 Heisman Trophy winners find peace and happiness in the same backfield?
You know, I'm a team ball player. You know, I'm going to make sacrifices, and I made some in the past.
Marcus is an excellent receiver and a good blocker, and Bo has gotten better and better with each week as he gets more comfortable.
I've basically done it all in football there is to do. I mean, that doesn't stop me from, you know, trying to be the best.
It's a promising-looking backfield with Bo, but with his baseball commitment also, that creates a different situation, too.
Do you think he'll be in uniform for the Kansas City Royals next spring?
I don't know. I don't know. You know, right now, I'm not worried about next spring right now. I'm worried about this game.
Talking with Al Davis at Raiders practice this week, he's as stunned as anybody. There are a lot of reasons, as we have detailed in that piece, for the Raiders' demise. He thinks perhaps the club was a little overrated. A lot of decisions to be made. What do you do with Mark Wilson? His contract's up. He makes $1 million a year. They've got to think about Bo Jackson and his future. Does he play with them half the time, or just what that situation will be? As far as Flores is concerned, rumors always swirl around a coach with a 7-game losing streak. Frankly, I would be stunned if Tom Flores was not back as the coach of the Los Angeles Raiders in 1988. Right now, he's a happy man. So is Davis, as the Raiders lead by 20 at the half.
Raiders and the Seahawks to kick off to the Raiders as we start the third quarter. Norm Johnson comes forward, and the second half gets underway with a kick that's taken at the 3-yard line by Mueller. Up past the 20, and Vance out of Occidental comes to the 25-yard line. And this ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Tandy Computers. There's no better value. By the Travelers. You're better off under the umbrella. And by Chrysler. Chrysler believes a luxury car should be a great driving car. At Chrysler, we're driving to be the best. Bo Jackson back in the lineup as we start the third period at the 25-yard line. Tremendous pass for Jackson.
Not bad.
On first down, they give it to Marcus Allen out to the 30-yard line. You know, the funny thing is, with Heisman Trophy winners, we talked about Herschel Walker coming to Dallas and Dorsett, but that's a whole other story. There's Tony pretty much nearing the end of his career, Herschel coming into his prime. In this backfield, you got one guy in his prime and one guy whose prime may last for about 8 years.
And two great personalities if you're going to have it, though. Both of them can deal with it. That's the good thing about it. No ego problems here with either one of them.
Jackson got past the 30 to the 35 to the 36-yard line and enough for a first down. At the 36, the Raiders with the first down of the second half, and we'll take a look at the numbers through the first 30 minutes.
Well, the Raiders lead 27-7, and no surprises when you look at those numbers. 315 yards in total offense. Look at the good balance between rushing and passing. I mean, it's dominance everywhere, including the scoreboard. And Bo Jackson has just had a superlative half, as we said, and he's the main reason why those numbers are the way they are.
Hard to believe those numbers coming from a team that's lost 7 straight.
First down at the 36-yard line. And it's Jackson to the 40.
Look out.
Bo into Seattle territory inside the 40 and down to the 22-yard line. And every time he gets the ball, there's going to be that sense of anticipation.
I think they're going to have to put a handicap on him some way. They're like a thoroughbred. Put some about 18 pounds on him or something.
Well, look at the change of direction. I mean, here's a guy that just totally reverses his field. Now, the whole right side of the line was collapsed. That's why he had that room. If it wasn't for the good angle by Eugene Robinson, Bo would have just continued right down the sidelines. Give Robinson some credit. He recovered from his free safety position and cut Jackson off, or else he's gone on that one as well.
A lot of backs would have got 3 or 4 out of that 5, but not 25 or 30.
First down from the 22. Draw play. It's Mueller inside the 20 and bumped out of bounds close to a first down. Run out by Hunter and Robinson. And the Raiders on the move again.
What a Jackson does to your offense, he really just changes it all around. You don't have to think pass at third down, 3 or 4. And the Raiders didn't in the first half. If you were with us on a second down and 7, a third down and 6 on key situations, they did not go with the pass. They gave it to Bo Jackson, and he got the first down, and on one occasion got the long touchdown.
I wish I was as good at some of my hobbies as he is at his.
From the 11, it's Marcus Allen. Stopped at the 9-yard line. Hit first by Fred Young.
I'd win the U.S. Open Golf Championship if I was as good at my hobby as he is at this.
How about the one thing we haven't touched on, what Al Davis pulled off? Because as you all know, or most of you do anyway, he was drafted #1 by Tampa Bay, was Bo, opted to play baseball, said don't talk to me about football, I'm a baseball player. And then that made him draftable again. And Al Davis spent a low 7th-round draft choice, number 34.
Well, what the Cowboys spent on Herschel Walker, number 5, wasn't it?
Yep. On 2nd and 8, the pass is caught at the 2-yard line by Dokie Williams.
Can you imagine that Walker and Jackson are both playing in the NFL for a number 5 and a number 7 draft choice?
Something even wilder would be to imagine them together. Here it is again. And again, Dopey Williams just on a slant. And Mark Wilson getting a lot of confidence and getting a little bit cocky back there. Stands and just drills it in and gets the completion.
Well, I don't know what the Seahawks defensive coaches had to say at halftime, but it doesn't seem to have had a great deal of effect on the Seahawks defense, which is collapsing back to their own goal line.
And the Raiders take a timeout with a 3rd and 1 upcoming from the 2. Bo Jackson rushing and receiving tonight. 185. And all of the Seahawks at 118.
And he just got here.
And if you're in Seattle, you can't wait till he leaves.
3rd and 1 from the 2. Here's Bo. And here goes Bo for the touchdown. He and Bosworth one-on-one, and Jackson just shoves him into the end zone.
I suggested a handicap of 18. How about 20 pounds?
That's the matchup you like to see. If you're Seattle, Bo Jackson with the ball, Brian Bosworth. Here's Bo Jackson. He's going to go here. Here's Brian Bosworth. They're going to meet on the 2-yard line and end up in the end zone. Watch the Boz. He plays it perfectly, flows to the football, meets Bo Jackson at the 2. Sorry, 220 beats 240 easily.
Yeah, that's kind of awesome.
Barr gets it through.
Bosworth looking out there. Did you get the number of that truck? Look at it again in isolation, and it's even more remarkable because Bosworth has it stand exactly where he wants to be at this point.
Oh, he's in perfect position. The shoulders are square, the back dips. He drives into him and gets driven back into the end zone himself.
Glance, if you just look at average, you're saying that's a pretty good night for a receiver. That's on the ground. Marcus and Bo.
Marcus acting like a press agent.
17-yard rushing average tonight. Edmonds out to the 25-yard line. If you're wondering about the NFL record rushing average in a game for 10 or more carries, Marion Motley of Cleveland in 1950 carried the ball 11 times for 188 yards against Pittsburgh, and that's the mark right now. A little more than 17.
Another look at that touchdown. Brian Bosworth right there. But look at Bo Jackson get the leverage, drop his shoulder pad underneath Brian, and his momentum just shoves Bosworth right back into the end zone. He still doesn't believe it.
There go the sunglasses deal. And the T-shirt.
From the 26. It'll be 2nd and 10.
You know, the amazing thing, this is a stunned crowd. They're just sitting there stunned.
Talk about deals. You think there are some agents licking their lips thinking about how to market Bo Jackson?
Hey, how do you think this effort of Jackson's is being received in Kansas City?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a member of the Royals, John Sherrills and their organization, you're saying, oh, my gosh, this is the last thing in the world I wanted to have happen. I mean, if you want to be selfish about it, they have to be thinking that way.
2nd down and 10 from the 26. Bo's a different kind of guy, though. From the 26-yard line. It's caught by Tice, and he has a 1st down after the 39-yard line. You know, the funny thing about Jackson, Bo, he likes to surprise people. He likes to fool people. Remember when he first signed with the Royals, he said, Bo does what Bo wants. He loves to refer to himself in the 3rd person. He likes to surprise folks. But to me, this is a personal observation. Next year with the Kansas City Royals, if he starts the season the way he ended it, he's going to wind up on the bench in baseball. And that may make a big difference in determining what he wants to do in the future. Warner out to the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 9, and there goes Jones and Ron Maddox.
Well, Sean Jones a little upset that Ron Maddox came in at the end of that play. Maddox looking for his hat. That play was all but over, and Sean Jones was just cruising up to the pile when Maddox did a 180 and whacked him pretty good. You're going to see it. Here's Sean Jones right here. Watch Maddox peel back and hit him right alongside the pile. I mean, this play's over, and, well, nobody gets hurt on something like that. I don't blame Jones for being a little upset. There wasn't much to that. But the helmet came off.
Oh, keep that on at all costs.
Well, I don't think Maddox gave it up on his own. I don't think he had a whole lot to say so about losing it.
he gets set here on 2nd down and 9 from the 40-yard line. Tipped and picked off at the 36-yard line by Van McElroy, who's having a Pro Bowl kind of year on a pass intended for Ray Butler.
And really, the defensive play by Ron Fellows came in a little bit late. That was a ball that just is tipped all the way by the receiver. We'll get a good look at it right from here. Ray Butler coming across. The ball's a little bit high, but as a receiver, you got to get your hands on it, and McElroy stayed with it all the way.
And McElroy is having that Pro Bowl year that Al talked about. That's his 3rd interception of the year, but more than that, he's been the leader back there in that secondary. Diving for the interception here, and when you're having a good year and you're playing like he is, you're where the ball is, and that's what is happening to McElroy this season.
You know, looking at it again from the reverse angle, that ball looked a lot harder for Butler to control than it did from the other angle. I don't know that if he could have kept that thing from being deflected back up into the air.
First down, 41-yard line, and it's Jackson blocking for Allen. And Marcus running for a first down. And this is turning into no contest with the score 34-7, and the Raiders just running at will.
And they got an act going together now. They're on the sidelines laughing, talking on the telephone. Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson, and that time Jackson with the lead block in against the rookie Tony Woods to get Allen around the corner. And Jackson has laid on a couple of major blocks, but Allen has done the same for him.
And this is operating behind what is hardly a celebrated offensive line. Again, I remind you, 11 different lines in 11 weeks as we look at these longest rushing plays in NFL history. You're going to see where one of them fits in.
There's the top 5. As they measure here for the first down. And there are the next 6. And there's Bo, who has just moved into a tie for the 8th longest run in the history of the NFL.
Remember, we asked Tom Flores last night about Bo Jackson and how he would compare him to all the great ones that Tom Flores has seen, and the first name that came out was Jimmy Brown. And Tom said, yeah, but the big difference there is Jimmy Brown never had the straightaway speed that Bo Jackson has.
And Jimmy Brown could run a 9.7. You're talking about 9.4 with this man.
2nd and inches at the 49-yard line. A free play here, and Wilson tries to take advantage by going deep. And it is knocked down on a pass intended for Lawson. A floating pass, and Patrick Hunter was able to get there and knock it down. So it'll be 3rd down and inches at the 49-yard line.
Fine play by Hunter just to get back there. We mentioned earlier that he was questionable during the week, shaken up last week in the game against San Diego, but he gets back there, has good position, and knocks it away.
Same play, same participants as a play that resulted in a Raider touchdown in the first half. Hunter and Lofton, that time Hunter played it much, much better and stayed with James all the way down the field.
3rd and inches. Double tight end setup. Marcus Allen picks up the first down. Taking it to the 46-yard line with 9 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Seattle a 9-point favorite and trailing by 27.
See what a Bo Jackson will do for Marcus Allen if he can stick around, and who knows the answer to that question. But if you can keep Jackson and Allen, and the Raiders offense is the kind of offense that can absorb 2 tailback types. A little certainly lengthen the career of Marcus Allen, who carried it so many times back in 1985 when he led the league in rushing. If you can split it up, you can last a lot longer in this league.
Nice little playmate for him. This is Allen taking the ball to the 41-yard line. And again, Marcus, a quarterback and a defensive back in high school. We touched on it before. Blocking back for a while for Charles White at SC, then himself the tailback at Southern Cal onto the Heisman.
You wonder if there are any 2 individuals on a football team that operate closer together than the 2 backs in a backfield. They rely upon each other. They're, in many instances, soulmates. And you really wonder what role Marcus Allen will play in trying to convince Bo Jackson to stay with the Raiders.
On 1st and 10. And he runs out of bounds at the 36-yard line.
Wilson had his eye on that marker for the first down, and I think he just did nip it.
Had his eye on number 24, Melvin Jenkins, too.
You see him kind of hunch those shoulders as he went out of bounds. He figured he was going to get himself quite a shot there.
Last time the Raiders won a game in this stadium, it was 1981, and it was Wilson who led him to a victory, and he's led him to a first down here at the 36-yard line. This has been a true house of horrors for the Raiders, going down to 2 bombings the last 2 years by a composite 70-3, but turning the tables tonight with a vengeance.
Nightmare a couple of years for this man, too, Mark Wilson. He started on the bench this year. Rusty Hilger would be the quarterback of the future, and he relieved Hilger twice. And tonight he's making his 3rd consecutive start. He was the man that the forgotten quarterback at the beginning of this year, and now he's the man that is directing them once again.
At the 36-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Raiders. With Jackson in motion, give it to Bowe. On a slot back around, he's inside the 30, the 20, and down to the 10-yard line. And I think the Buffalo Bills, who play the Raiders in the Coliseum on Sunday, have just turned their television sets off.
Bosworth again at the line of scrimmage had a shot at him, and he has to be totally frustrated.
He took a full all-out sprint, dove for him, and I mean, just no chance. I think we got a good ISO on the Boz. Now he reads the reverse right there. He's got the angle. Look at the what. Now he realized he took the wrong angle. You see him break a little bit back to the right and never even got in close.
It is so easy to misjudge a big man when they have speed. Over the years, you watched them do it. They do it to Eric Dickerson now, and when Bo Jackson runs, he looks like a little back, but he's huge.
Here's Allen, and he takes it down to the 5-yard line.
Yeah. Now, the one thing we got to point out, guys, is Brian Bosworth took the angle on that play, but in the scheme of the defense, that's really not his play to make. I mean, you can't expect your inside linebacker to be making that play on a reverse. In other words, your corner has to come up and support. Your strong safety has to be in on that play. But still, Bosworth had an angle on him and didn't even get close.
Meanwhile, Marcus Allen, sort of lost in the shuffle tonight, has established a new mark. Career yards rushing, breaking the mark held by Mark Van Egan. 2nd and 4 from the 5. Allen tries to add to that total, but no gain here. It'll be 3rd down and 4 from the 5. A flag is down after Bryant makes the tackle. 6:35 to play in the 3rd. Jerry Markwright to tell us about the call. Who goofed? We have to know. Illegal procedure against the Raiders.
Hey, talk about Marcus Allen. I love what he said in your interview at the halftime. Here's the call.
Illegal formation foul. 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 2nd down.
You can't do that. But I love what he said. He said, I've done it all in football. He said, I still want to be as great as I can be. He is a man of total humility, a great class, great style. He is, of course, the Travelers Man of the Year for the Raiders, and that has to do with activity off the football field as much as it does on. And man is totally involved in so many good works down around the Los Angeles area. And he has done it all. What more could you expect? And we'll hear about the Travelers Man of the Year at the Super Bowl.
2nd down after the penalty, and it's Jackson taking it to about the 5, and Bowe, and we'll see how much yardage they give him officially on that. The Raider team record for rushing yardage in the game, 200 yards. Clem Daniels back in '63.
I think that'll put him over the edge, Al.
Against the Jets. And Bo Jackson right now eclipsing that mark. There it is, 12 for 202. Another Raider record.
Yeah, but he's destroying his average down to 16.8.
On 3rd down, it's Lofton, incomplete, covered by Patrick Hunter. So on a night when Allen sets the career mark, who knows if this game goes long enough, Jackson may have the career mark before we're out of here.
The way Seattle's defense is playing, I mean, this is just a total collapse by one of the better defensive units in the game. I mean, they are just being ground up at the line of scrimmage. They're being humiliated in the secondary with receivers running open. They're missing tackles. I mean, they're getting it put to them every way imaginable.
And tonight, Bosworth meeting Jackson, and next Sunday, Cornelius Bennett gets his shot as Buffalo meets the Raiders. Barr to attempt the field goal. And from the 12-yard line, that 22-yarder is perfect. 5:29 to go in the 3rd. And the Raiders routing the Seahawks and turning the table.
angle. There he is, Chris Barr, number 10. Oh!
Gets his kicks in.
I've just never heard it described as illegal use of the body.
Leave it to Mark Wright. I love the way he phrases things. Scanty. Inside the 40 down to the 39-yard line. And first
Scanty
down.
is going to need a hot tub tonight. He has been hammered all over this football field. He took a tremendous shot earlier from Stacy Turan. A couple of shots from Turan, and he just really got bombed on that one.
Scanty making that catch. By the way, lost in the shuffle at the end of the first half. Steve Largent making that catch with 3 seconds to go in the half, and he moved past Don Maynard on that catch, and now trails only Charlie Joyner in career yardage.
There's going to be a lot lost in the Bo Jackson shuffle tonight.
You bet. Incomplete. Marker down. Penalty coming up. Intended for Turner, and Sam Seo gets whistled.
Well, if they're going to whistle him for something, it can't be interference. It must be defensive holding at the line.
Pass interference, number 43, defense, automatic first down.
Well, I'd like to see where the interference must have been late.
I think it was continuous from the line of scrimmage on.
I sure didn't see interference at the end of the play. Let's look at it from reverse angle.
I think it might have already happened. Certainly can't be there.
Well, if that's... Well, before the ball is thrown, the call should be defensive holding. I didn't see the interference, but it's really not that big of a penalty. It was only about 5 yards or so.
Shotgun from the 36 after the automatic first down. Here comes the blitz. Turan hits Craig as he lost it. Incomplete. And Turan really busting that play up to make it 2nd down and 10.
Turan is a big blitz man for the Raiders. Pickup number 30. Timing it out with the count. Fends off the attempted block on the part of Williams and right into the face of Craig before he can find a receiver downfield. Cramps up, big, strong. 6'2", 200 pounds. And they use him a lot on that blitz.
4:26 to play, 3rd period, 2nd down and 10. Raiders lead 37-7. Warner, good night. Howie Long. Can you believe this team has lost 7 in a row?
Howie Long just lined up on the inside at his defensive tackle position. This is Howie right here. It doesn't get any more basic than that, just shooting the gap. You see Brian Millard, the right guard, pulling, and what's happening there is Mike Wilson, the right tackle, trying to down block on Howie Long. But when a defensive lineman has that great first step, that explosion upfield, as a tackle, you don't even get a shot on him, as we saw there.
4 wide receivers and 3rd down long yardage.
3rd and 18 from the 44. Craig looking for Largent, incomplete. That's the noisiest this place has been in over an hour.
This crowd is stunned. So is Dave Craig, chased out of the pocket that time by Bill Pickell.
And there's Mike Wilson talking to Chuck Knox, explaining why he didn't get Howie Long on that down block.
Mentions at the top, when you deal with the Seahawks, you never know what you're going to get. They played the perfect football game last week. You can't play any better than they played against San Diego. Impossible. And now tonight, they're down by 30, and there's still a lot of time, unfortunately, for Seattle to go. Rodriguez's kick is fair caught at the 10-yard line by Wood. 34-yard punt. Here come the Raiders, taking over at the 10, on top 37, and Bo tandem with 295 yards, more than double the Seattle total. And Bo alone, 202 yards, a new Raider single game mark tonight, plus that 1 reception, which was good for a touchdown.
Well, I don't know how the Raiders expect to win this game without Jackson getting more involved in the passing game. 1 reception, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Put him on special teams, too. From the 10, 1st and 10, and Bo is in the game. And with the football, And 202 now becomes about 208, give or take a yard, out to the 16-yard line. And a long night for the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator, Tom Catlin. How do you stop Bo? And that's
you make a trade.
A lot of coaches are going to be asking.
You make a trade for him right now. Give him the next 4 or 5 number 1 picks. He's making everyone look like children out there.
Best day on the ground by any back this year. Charles White, 213 yards a couple of weeks ago against St. Louis for the Rams. Jackson held to a 1-yard gain. Stopped the presses. After the 17, boy, that'll wreak havoc on the average. Gaines and Nash converge on the tackle.
I mean, if you're Seattle, looking at this guy walk back to the huddle, you have to pinch yourself to realize that this is still the 3rd quarter. I mean, this is a nightmare for Tom Catlin and his defensive team to think there's still 2 minutes and 22 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. I mean, they've seen about 4 games worth of offense coming at them already.
And it's true. Every time he gets the ball, he can go all the way. It's a cliche, but in his case, it's true. 3rd down and 2 at the 18, and Wilson gets sacked back at the 9. One brief moment of glory for Brian Bosworth.
The Bos, watch him give a little fake like he's going back, then the delayed blitz, and nobody even takes a stab at him. And Mark Wilson decides that discretion is the better part of valor and chews on a little AstroTurf.
Bos did show that speed, though. He has great acceleration. He'll be a great linebacker. There he is talking to Tom Catlin. Catlin's been around with Chuck Knox for 15 years. Very high on his young middle linebacker.
If you're wondering who the Raider punter is, it's Stan Talley, and it's his first kick of the night. It comes out of the end zone, and Edmonds lets it bounce. And it bounces back into Raider territory, and they'll spot it down at the 49-yard line with 1 minute and 31 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. 40-yard kick by Talley, the man who replaces the retired Ray Guy. Calendar turning tomorrow. It'll be December 1st, and college basketball really heating up, and we'll heat up our coverage this Saturday at 2 Eastern time from the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. A doubleheader. Notre Dame, Digger Phelps leading his gang against Louisville and Denny Crum. And then it's Bobby Knight and Indiana taking on Kentucky with Eddie Sutton at the 50-yard line. Craig, and here's the all-time flag.
Van McElroy, good luck trying to hide on that one.
Not interference. That was a mugging.
You talk about a tough sell.
Pass interference, number 26, defense, automatic first down.
You won't seem to find it anymore. I guess the less in dispute as Van McElroy gets the right arm all over the inside of Darrell Turner. It was even more graphic than that replay showed.
33-yard penalty at the 16-yard line, 1st and 10. Well, we've had our all-time interference, and that's your all-time offside unless Sean Jones was drawn.
Well, he was. Ron Mattis, the tackle moved. I think that'll go against Seattle. He was drawn offside. The question will be whether he could have gotten back.
Offside, number 99, defense.
See, there's the key. Let me show you something. I want you to watch Ron Mattis, the left tackle. Now, he's going to rock back a little bit. Jones comes across, but Jones, you see, has time to get back. You see that? See, Sean Jones, because there was no contact, should have gone back and crossed the line of scrimmage. You don't get a free shot in that respect, and because the offensive tackle was in a 2-point stance on his feet, he can move a little bit like that.
Or step across and make the contact.
Or make the contact. He should have turned, talking about Sean Jones, and gone back to the line of scrimmage and lined up again.
1st and 5 from the 11-yard line. And Craig lost it into the end zone and knocked away. Intended for Largent and swatted away by Ron Fellows, the former Cowboy.
Is that a sidearm delivery I saw?
Craig is actually looking for Turner over in the corner. Taking a quick look over there. Nothing happening over there. And then now picks up Largent and Fellows with good positioning on Largent.
Second and 5. And there is Largent. We mentioned before he moved into second in yardage. He's second to Joyner in receptions and 6th behind Don Hudson for touchdown receptions. And he's not thinking about retiring, so he'll be on top in all of those categories. Craig throwing, and he hits John L. Williams down at the 2-yard line for a first down. Rod Martin with the tackle. John L. Williams. If Seattle, and they don't look like it tonight, but this is a team that can get very hot, as we all know. If they were to get, let's say, into the Super Bowl against, for instance, Chicago, you'd have Williams and Neil Anderson, the 2 guys who teamed together at Florida. First and goal. Warner. No gain. Second and goal. Martin and King get credit for the tackle. Sam Field comes up for support.
I think the Raiders are making a statement here to Chuck Knox that if you want a touchdown, you're going to have to earn it. There's no gliding into the end zone down here. I think this is a chance for a team that's lost 7 games in a row to vent a whole lot of frustration here tonight.
Second and goal. Craig looking for Tice, the tight end, and has it for the touchdown. Mike Tice came across, got free, goes in for the score. And we've got the Seahawks that's let loose, flying around the Kingdom.
This is a pattern that takes a lot of time because here's Mike Tice. He'll release right here and work all the way under the formation. He'll then get picked up by Van McElroy, but a type of play action like this takes some time. You can see how Craig isn't even pressured. McElroy too late on the coverage.
We told you there was a Seahawk flying around in here.
I just wonder where that Seahawk goes.
Yeah, I do too.
I know one thing, he's not tired tonight.
Are we really seeing that? Kick by Johnson is good. And with 5 seconds left in the third, stick around, folks. This is the most drama we've got right now. Where does this bird go home to roost?
There's probably some lady Seahawk around here somewhere.
I mean, that's some sort of a mechanical bird, I guess, as we look at something a bit more important. Now about a touchdown. John Tice on the crossing pattern at least gives some offensive respectability to what the Seahawks have been trying to do tonight. Mike Tice with the touchdown.
Former quarterback at Maryland. Turned into a fine tight end. He came to camp, didn't know whether he was going to be around or not because Chuck Knox was on the record saying we're going to have to improve our tight end position, and Mike Tice has obviously improved. He's still around.
John Tice plays at New Orleans. We're talking about maybe a Super Bowl matchup with John L. Williams and Neil Anderson. What about if New Orleans met Seattle in the Super Bowl?
Did I inadvertently say John? Oh, I plead guilty.
Guilty as charged.
Well, it was a nice segue for you. I was just setting you up.
You were watching the Seahawks.
Now, me trying to tell you I did that on purpose, that's like Van McElroy trying to convince the referee that he didn't have interference on it.
Meanwhile, I want to know where the Seahawks went. Final play in the third period. Brokey Williams after the 13-yard line, and the crowd hopeful, trying to get back into it. Hopeful the Seahawks can get back into it. That's the end of the third quarter. Raiders lead 37-14. Back in Seattle after this word about an upcoming show on ABC and a word from your local station.
Well, bird still circling.
Yeah. That's some battery. That's a live bird if you're wondering. We're kidding about it, but somebody released a bird. I don't know if it's a Seahawk or not. We'll have to call the Audubon Society, but that bird is still flying around in the dome. And here's Marcus Allen taking it out to the 23-yard line. And I guess it's a good thing for that bird that Dave Winfield doesn't play here.
All right, we watched Brian Bosworth be a step late on a couple of plays. Let's see how he reads this run by Marcus Allen. He fights off the block on the left side of Brian Holloway, gets leg whipped by Holloway, still stays on his feet and gets in on the tackle. That's a good effort by Brian Bosworth, and it was a good look at an offensive lineman using a leg whip. Brian Holloway, the left tackle, got that heel right up into the hip region of Brian Bosworth, and hey, that hurts. That hurts a lot.
You ever do that?
All the time. It's really, in many ways, an instinctive reaction. You're out of position, you're going to the ground, and you're just doing whatever you can do to get a piece of your body on the guy you're trying to block. But, boy, a lot of defensive players have been hurt by that technique.
You're thinking perhaps it could be your leg, even your thigh, and all of a sudden it's your heel.
Sure.
Second down and inches for the Raiders at their own 23-yard line. Start of the fourth quarter. Raiders on top 37-14. Crowd noisy, but Wilson trying to call the signals anyway. Marcus Allen takes it out to the 27-yard line. And a first down for the Raiders. Seahawks scored first way back when. Bo Jackson fumbled. Seattle cashed in, but since then it has been all L.A.
All Bo Jackson.
With a little help from Marcus.
Not a lot of help from Marcus. Both of them blocking well for each other, and the Raiders the first time this year in the NFL, 300 yards plus rushing. You're wondering about the NFL record for rushing is held by Walter Payton of 275 yards.
Back in 77 against Minnesota. Here's Bo Jackson, who's up and over 200, and every yard he gains adds to his new Raider record as he takes it out to the 31-yard line. His new Raider single game record, and again Marcus Allen establishing a new Raider career mark tonight. NFL, there it is, Peyton back in 77, and then O.J. had the two big games, 273, 250. Willie Ellison, Rams back in 71, and Cookie Gilchrist with the Bills, 63.
One year O.J. went over 2,000. He had back-to-back games of over 200 yards.
Jackson on the draw, and he still is able to squirt forward. Bosworth had him around the ankle, and Bo able to lunge forward to turn it into a minimal gain.
A good read that time by Brian. That was a delay play. Some people, the old description might call that a drag draw. The quarterback going back. Wilson that time looked to Bo Jackson, gave the play away a little bit. First guy in was Jacob Green, but then Brian Bosworth came in and brought Jackson to the ground. Mark Wilson, the quarterback, isn't supposed to look at the running back as blatantly as he did that time, delivering the ball to Bo Jackson.
Third down, short six at the 32-yard line. And Bo Jackson out for a first down to the 39-yard line.
He did it again. He just bounced right off. It was Freddie Young that time at the line of scrimmage.
When he was coming up, just breaking in at Auburn as a freshman, and Herschel Walker had already established himself at Georgia as something super sensational, the Auburn folks kept saying, we've got somebody better than Herschel. And naturally the inclination was to go, sure. The 39-yard line. Marcus Allen for a gain of 1. Of course, the funny thing about Bo, too, when you look back at his college career, one of the raps on Bo Jackson was that he was brittle, that he missed too many games with what people suspected were minor nagging injuries.
Well, and people who were of a mind to be critical of Bo Jackson at that time thought that that was the reason that he opted for baseball, because of the hardly the lack of physical contact as we saw with that hit on Dempsey, but certainly much less than the game of football. And a lot of people who were critical of his senior year at Auburn, where they thought that, and I'm talking now about critics, nobody knows for sure, but they thought he could have played a couple games his senior year when he chose not to.
2nd and 8 from the 41, and Lofton gets wrapped around, and there's your flag.
Well, it came in late, but Hunter was on Lofton, but it appeared that he made the contact after the ball had already gone by them. I told you about Hunter, who was injured last week against Green Bay, was questionable this week, and now he's
Pass interference. Number 23, defense, automatic first down.
Now he's slipping visibly. Take a look at it again. Wilson again has a good protection as the linebacker comes. The contact is made after the ball is already gone. Well, it's very close. Flag coming in very late. A lot of times when you're playing hurt, you're a cornerback, you do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do just to cover up the fact that you are playing hurt.
Well, I don't know